So today's project is this shelf. It's all disassembled as far as like stuff in it, and you can see it's kind of grimy. This MDF has been a massive disappointment here. You can see there's a lot of sag. That shelf up there, thankfully, doesn't get used really. It's a narrower or a thinner, it's thinner than these shelves. These shelves are a little heavier, but even they have a little sag. So I've put away a bunch of the books. Well, I haven't put them away. They're stacked up over there in airtight bags to go down into the hatch for storage. Storm's coming. Anyway, so while I'm at it, I thought I'd make some improvements. This is all cleaned up. We're going to paint it with some good latex paint, semi-gloss that's washable. These pieces here have been cut already because they're going to be the front-facing edges of the shelves, because of course MDF is porous, so that front edge is rough. So I'm going to nail all those on right now, and then I can get started with the paint. I have a slight peachy cream color that I'm putting on here because the whole house is white. Everywhere it's white. And I thought a little contrast in this space would be nice. The little curtain that usually hangs here is white with some bright colored poppies on it, so I think that'll look pretty. Anyway, that's what we're doing. Out here, there's a thunderstorm coming. You can see it. We just had our first thunderclap a second ago. It was a gorgeous morning. It was the same yesterday. Beautiful morning, beautiful all day long until like 2 or 3, and then it started pouring with rain. But it's better than the forecast. The forecast is for pouring with rain all day, every day, for the next few days. So I'll take a pretty morning and a rainy afternoon instead of that, for sure. Anyway, back to this. It's all cleaned up. The end pieces are cut. I'm going to nail those on and start to paint. So there it is, painted. You can just tell the differences between the white and the beige. It doesn't look very peach. I thought it would look a little peachier, but it might when the drape is in, because that lower half down there will be, from this shelf down, gets covered. But whatever is painted, I had just enough paint. I wanted to paint the sidewall over here too, which I will need to do eventually, but I didn't have enough for that, so I didn't begin it. I just did the front, and that's all I had enough for. We've got it looks a little wonky because I flipped this shelf over. It's the only shelf that isn't actually attached because you can see that it's sort of shallow, and so eventually I had planned on getting a deeper shelf there. In the long run, I actually like it being kind of shallow, but because it lets me put tall things in there. But nonetheless, it's not pretty. They're pretty warped. But this will at least seal them up so they don't take in any more moisture. It'll reduce mold issues, because I haven't been able to keep up with the mold, and I'm not okay with mold. So this will stop that. I don't know why MDF, like our kitchen counters are made of MDF. The top surface is finished with the chalkboard paint, which is rubberized, and so obviously will seal out moisture. And I treated the bottom surface with a mold inhibitor, just a spray chemical that I bought at Home Depot, which I also had done here. And these shelves are just like mold farm. I don't know what the deal is. It's the only place in the house where we really have that problem. Problem solved. Seal it up. It's a semi-gloss, so there will be a little bit of a sheen. Bottom line is it'll be really easy to clean as well. This shelf here gets the most use, and then down here, if we canned goods often live on that little shallow shelf. They got a few coats, so that's good. So yeah, project done. Oh, camera doesn't want to focus, but whatever. Our storm we got some rain. We got some thunder. Look at our pretty flowers. But it certainly has not been as severe as what they had forecasted. Irvin has gone on an errand to take trash to the transfer station and get some fuel for the generator and so on. So I do have big plans for the yard. It's been sort of an obsession trying to design this yard. What am I going to do with it? This fire pit, although large and grandiose and heavily belabored by the Hawaiian, we never use it. So that wood has been sitting in there waiting for us to burn it since we moved in. Because if it rains here, it rains generally in the evening. Anyway, lately anyway. We just don't, we're not fire pit people apparently. So I've decided, and it's just way too big and it's right in the middle of the yard. I was going to relocate it to back over there behind the deck, but I've changed my mind about that too. So the idea now is we know that we're going to need to extend the driveway past the deck yard and the garden area into right about that area there. We're going to dig it down. It's not quite as big as it looks, it's just the grasses and plants have grown in. To the right of this tree here, to extend the driveway into the back acre and then build more back there. But I don't want it to look like there's a driveway running through the yard. So my intention is that I will take some of these big rocks and I'm going to put, sorry, block the camera. I'm going to put some spaced out marker stones to sort of indicate that's garden area, because that will stay gravel in around the boats there. And then I'm going to put more stones over here and build this up, because I'll put a flower bed in this area. And then there's going to be a sort of flower bed here too, built up with stones, and then a stone perimeter to the lawn that comes up this way. So anyway, it'll be lawn coming this way to the garden, and then when the time comes to run a driveway through the yard, we'll do a two-track with the red cinder, so that it's just two tracks that run through and curve over and then go back into there, instead of a full-on driveway. It'll be two tracks with lawn on either side and through the middle of it. And I think that won't be too bad. And then this whole center area here will all be lawn. There's going to be an additional garden bed for vegetables from back there. I might put a planting shed back there, but we'll see about that. Garden bed will be built up with rocks along the front here of this, what I'm calling Christmas tree hill, because later on each year when we have a live Christmas tree, I actually plan to plant them there and sort of terrace that hill a little bit with flowers and plants. But the lower portion, the front of it, will be a garden bed. So all of these loose rocks, lumpy rocks, in the same way that it took about literally 10 minutes just to scoop up rocks and push them into here to create this trail that we used when we were bringing supplies for the deck. And so my intention is actually to start corralling all these loose rocks and build up the flower bed here, so it's a raised bed, because the citrus trees are actually going to get planted out here. They're in pots on the deck, and they're awful pretty, but they can't live there for long without overgrowing the pots. So a raised flower bed here with a citrus tree. I'm going to get a peony. There's some yellow bushes that grow here natively, and I plan on trying to propagate. So some flowers there with probably a lemon tree. Some yellow and pink and probably some white flowers in there. And then another citrus tree is going to be put in a raised bed in front of here. One of the orange trees. And I can't remember where I was going to put the third one. I know I was going to put... oh, I remember. There's going to be a bed there where that dead tree stuff is. There's going to be a flower bed in front of all that grassy stuff there too, and so there'll be a citrus tree planted there. I'm going to see if I've been told that there's a type of apple that will grow, and I plan to put a little apple here to grow in between the windows. And then I want to see if I can get a pear tree, some type of pear, Asian pear or Bosque pear, if it will grow. And that might go in the back of the duck yard to sort of shade for the ducks by the pond. But we'll see. I don't know what I can get my hands on for that as far as pears go, or if it would even make pears. We don't get frost here. But anyway, so yeah, big plans for the yard. I've got soil in there, and the other day I bought a bunch of seeds so I can start getting the veggies going, and also some flower seeds to just sort of throw up in the hill there, make it prettier. But ultimately, the yard will go out to the driveway with a bed there, just like a sort of ovally triangle, and then lawn beyond it. I think it'll be real pretty when it all comes together. And using all these lumpy rocks to create the beds, it will smooth it out, and then I can get more soil and plant that lawn. I don't know if it'll actually be grass. There's a couple types of ground cover that get used here at the hotels in their landscaping, and it looks like lawn, but it feels more spongy when you walk on it, and it's really nice in bare feet. And you don't have to mow it because it kind of curls down. And it's not moss, it's something else. So I got to research that a little bit, because wouldn't it be nice to have this really soft, super green area, the whole frontage, that you never had to mow. And it's tough. Like, I think you might even be able to drive over it on occasion, not every day. But, so it would withstand, I think, the driveway going through over there. So, we'll see. But lots of plans. In the meantime, all our plantings are happy. These guys are still in pods. Because ultimately we have to get our siding on, and I can't do this bed until we do, because it'll just get destroyed and be in the way of putting siding on. So anyway, there's a little update. I have not worked on the A-frame behind the shed there since Alex was here. I was just too distracted with all the storms and visitors, which was a wonderful distraction, and then everything that happened with Ollie. And so it's been more about the garden and other smaller projects lately. But I'll get back to that. I've got to seal it up, or else all of our hard work will go to waste. So we'll get back to that pretty soon. I think once I get that garden planted, all this fancy design work will probably get put on hold for a little bit, but, you know, to get the cabin sealed up. It's rainy season right now, and when we get into like November and December, it'll get drier, which would be wonderful, because then I don't have to work in the rain. But we'll see. Spring and fall here are the rain, whereas other people, well, I guess it's rain for everybody else too. January, we know from our experience before and from what everybody tells us, is lovely and with some rain, but mostly dry. But anyway, enough of my yammering. It's a beautiful, sort of bright, but sort of sprinkly day, after all. Not the terrible thunderstorm they forecasted. It's nice enough that I can leave the door open and let this dry. Got a fan going, so hopefully that will help. The windows are open because it's nice enough for that at least. But, yeah, let this dry. And then tomorrow I can put things back in. Right now our house is a disaster, because so much stuff lives in here. Our tiny little space is full of stuff set everywhere, while this is empty and painted. So anyway, that's enough. See you later.